What's up, wrestling card collectors? Welcome to another edition of WTCtv. I am once again joined by Mr. Rich. Is it Velligan?
Velligan.
Velligan. Okay, see, I'm not good with names, man. I need help with all kind of stuff. Like, that's why I stopped doing breaks, man, because I can't even pronounce half the damn roster and some of the talent.
People just call me RV.
RV, there we go. I just call you Mr. Japanese Wrestling Card Man. That's what you are. I mean, you've been so instrumental in helping WTC get a lot of the updates that we need for Japanese wrestling cards. And God, I remember back in the day when David Porto and I were both like just struggling to find someone who could, because there wasn't a Google translator back then. So trying to find someone to help us translate cards, because we started buying stuff off of eBay. We had no idea. So it just sat in our collections forever, not knowing what the hell they were. And then here we are in 2022, and I've got the best guy in the business to help us out now.
One of the best.
One of the best guys. Well, for me, you're the best as far as I'm concerned. So, but that's kind of what we're talking about today. You've been doing a lot of research.
Lots.
You're one of the biggest collectors that I know of, me personally, of Japanese wrestling cards especially. And that's why you're my go-to guy when I have questions or we need checklist information. But you're taking all that knowledge and you're doing something very special with it. What is it you're doing, sir?
I am. So coming this fall, I will be releasing a book, and I have a proof of the cover, if everybody can see it.
Nice. It's Japanese Pro Wrestling Trading Card Almanac.
Yes.
That seems like a little bit of a play on the Beckett one, isn't it?
I mean, it's gonna have trading cards in it, so I guess, sure.
Oh, well, I mean, because annually, somebody just posted like the new 2022 ones coming, or just came out of the Beckett Wrestling Almanac.
Yeah, that came out end of May, early June.
Yeah, I think it was right after WrestleMania time.
Yeah.
And I've got the last couple of years. They put it out since I think 2019 now, I think.
Yeah.
And so I've got 19, 20, and I think I have 21. I don't have 22 yet, but just a cool keepsake. But yeah, I mean, I even interviewed, I think his name was Matt Bible.
Okay.
I had him on talking about it. Very knowledgeable person. And so, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, what made you decide that you wanted to do a book just about Japanese wrestling cards?
So me collecting Japanese cards, it started with me just trying to find the rookie card / first appearance of wrestlers. There's really no information out there on that unless somebody has put it, on an online checklist like your site.
Yeah.
And so, you start digging and you think somebody has a card in 1998, and then you do some more digging and you're like, oh, they have a card in 1994. Well, that supersedes everything now. And so it just started little by little. And I actually wanted to pair up first appearance rookie cards with first autographs. And there was nothing out there. So I decided, all right, I'm going to start looking this up for myself. And as I dug deeper and deeper, and I started finding more and more checklists and more sets that were out there that there's no knowledge of, I was like, this information needs to have something done with it other than, I send it to a website and that's it. And I was like, well, let me ask around. So I have a friend in Japan, Kentaro. Hello, if you're watching. I asked him the card shops that he goes to, hey, can you randomly just ask if they have like price guides or any annual price guides with all the listings for Japanese wrestling cards? He got back to me a couple weeks later and he's like, upon the releases, they have a sports card. It's SCD. They will release the new cards in there. They'll put the checklist in there, but it's only for a month or two. And then they disappear. And it's weird because it's basically just the newer cards they keep up in this price guide. I guess they consider it a price guide, but it's not a traditional Beckett where, they list from the beginning of time to the newest set. Mm-hmm. It's just the newest stuff they put in there as a a source, and then it goes away when the new stuff comes in. So it just keeps flipping all the time. And those magazines have been around for a number of years. But of course, there's nothing online for them. So that's a bummer. And so I just decided, you know what? I think maybe it's time to start putting this pen to paper and let's see what happens with it.
I mean, it's got to be it's a lot of hours, and I totally can sympathize with that because I know a lot of hours of keeping notes and getting your records updated all the time and crossing this out and putting this over here. So I mean, how much time do you devote to doing this?
Well, unfortunately, thank goodness for the pandemic, a lot of at-home time. I basically started in about September of last year, and I am still currently researching. My average time a day is usually 2-3 hours a day.
Holy crap.
So there's some days where it could be 5 or 6 hours. And then, you know, if I feel burnout, I'll take a day or two off and not even do anything with it.
Burnout's a very real thing, man. I mean, you get gung ho because you're motivated to do something. And then after a while, you're like, you're tired, man. Like,
you just need a reset is definitely necessary sometimes, especially, you know, the search is daily and you're seeing the same cards. And then you give yourself a day or two off and then you come back and you're like, where do these new cards come from?
Yeah, it's like fresh pair of eyes almost, like, you know.
Exactly.
How far back is this going to go?
I'm sorry to disappoint anybody. I'm sticking with trading cards, the actual cardboard cards. So the first set will be the 1974 Yamakatsu New Japan Pro Wrestling set that has the 200 giant cards in it.
Gotcha.
And the final, the most current set will be the set that releases on July 16th, which is the New Japan Bushy Road Volume 2.
Okay.
That will be my cutoff for this edition. Hopefully in future editions, I do want to add other sets in there that are non-traditional cards, paper cards, magazines, but just sticking with the actual traditional cardboard cards for this start, just to get it started.
So, I mean, what are you defining as a traditional trading card? Because that can be a gray area for some people.
Cardboard.
Okay. But I mean, does that include like some people like to get the playing cards created?
I mean, I do know there are trading cards or the playing cards from, I think it's like 1980, 1981, 1982. I haven't included those. That could be for a future edition, only because most of those don't have a back on them, other than if it's a playing card, it's a playing card. So usually looking for something that has a little more information than just advertisement of what the manufacturer is for that card.
Gotcha. I mean, because I know that people just are kind of expanding this trading card term to encompass a lot more things. I mean, even in the early days of WTC, we stayed away from stickers. We stayed away from gaming cards. We stayed away from, postcards. We stayed away from anything that wasn't, again, traditional trading cards, size and stock. But then you had some things like, well, playing cards are the same size as a trading card, but they're playing because they're game cards. And it took us a while to come around to that, but now if people want it, we kind of just go ahead and say, well, you provide the information and it's accurate, we'll go ahead and add it. So
and that's where I'm at with getting this information out there in a book form. My information will be in the book, and anybody that has a set that they want to include, if it is like a playing card or if it's a magazine insert cutout, I am all open to inserting it into future editions. But I just wanted to get the traditional card collector out there to get them the information to see where it starts from.
Like I'm not good with pronouncing things like that. So as you've already heard, I already botched up your name. But so you're definitely not going to be including stuff like, Rob England posted some series of great stuff recently from that 85. Is it Shog?
The little mini playing cards, yes. I actually inquired to him about it, and it came out of a magazine, perforated, and that won't be in this edition.
Okay.
I know that, but I am open to putting it into for future editions.
And what kind of information is people going to find in your book?
So similar to price guides that you can find through retail stores now, it will have the set name, the amount of cards in the set. Every card will be listed, number, name, and then we'll also have the inserts. Basically anything that pertains to that set will be in there.
Wow, looks like I'm going to be having a lot of homework myself then when I get your book.
Yeah, well, you'll get the email files once it's all completed with anything that needs to be filled in for your site.
Oh, yeah, because I think it's important that we try to get all information out there. In your opinion, do you think going back to WTC site, we used to break it down by categories. We had a regular North American release type of section. We had a food issued section. We had a CCG/TCG section, and we had a Japanese section. And I didn't really like it. It seemed to work at the time. I didn't like it because I thought that it was just kind of not segregating things, but like, do I make a Spanish, like a Mexican card from Mexico? Do I, stuff in?
Yeah, I see it using your site. I like that it's all integrated, because then I'm looking at, okay, I see something and I'm like, do I know about that site? Maybe I should take a look at this. Let me click on it real quick. As opposed to if it was just segregated into Japanese cards, US releases, I would never see any of those other ones where I'm like, is that, something that maybe I should take a little closer look at and see what's in there?
That's kind of my thought process in that. So I know there was a little resistance when we started the relaunch back in 2020. There was a little resistance to doing that. Like, I kind of like the way it is. And, some people don't like change. And I'm like, well,
of course.
I kind of think that the way the thing used to work before it's run its course. So,
yeah.
But yeah, adding information and stuff like that becomes like the biggest problem for me. It's like finding out like, boxes as far as like what was it, pack count, how many cards per pack, I mean, how many packs per box, how many cards per pack. I mean, I'm so detailed about all that kind of stuff. Like that must be like a huge undertaking for you for all that stuff, especially because you're not a Japanese, resident. I don't know if you speak Japanese. I shouldn't assume that you do.
I do not at all. I've had a few people that have helped me with translations. It's time consuming. And what I've really found out is usually the products, I'm looking at like the 2003, 2004, 2005, and anything older. They really weren't released online with online information. So that is basically all pieced together of what you can find and then create the checklist. They got better, 06 onward where they're released. But again, they're in Japanese, so then you translate. But it's been a challenge, not gonna lie.
And so what, but again, should I already ask already? Like I'm getting old, I forget things. What is the fascination? Why do you specifically pinpoint on Japanese cards as opposed to like regular, North American cards or cards from Australia, things like that? Like you're not a big Topps guy, I'm assuming. You're not a big AEW guy, or as far as collecting that kind of stuff.
I do like the wrestlers in AEW and WWE. I pick up cards here or there. AEW, I have a decent amount. I only bought one box of it, and the rest I've picked up in singles, so it's okay. But yeah, maybe it's cheaper to buy singles. So why? Yeah, I don't even deal with boxes anymore. Japanese just got me started with seeing wrestlers, big name wrestlers. You compare them to the people in the US name wise, and they sell for a fraction of what, the popularity of they are there compared to here. It's always like, okay, I could try this and let's see where it goes. And yeah.
Have you seen that mentality though, that collecting mentality has kind of changed over the last couple of years though, especially as we're starting to see a lot more of these Japanese stars coming into US markets?
Yes. Just in I was just actually talking to Josie City about it, and the prices on some of these cards have tripled like within a month, and it's like, man, why are you putting this card up for sale now? Why didn't you sell it 2 months ago? Like it's nuts what some of these cards are going for now. I think there's a lot more eyes on it.
Yeah, because I mean, when you have something like the Forbidden Door being broken down, so like that, I mean, for collectors, which I think collectors, especially with the when it comes to wrestling, collectors of trading cards are a bit different than your traditional just wrestling fan who watches the product, because
Yes.
there's so much of people, many people out there who are fans of the product that don't collect.
Yes.
We've had this conversation many times over the years. Trying to figure out why, but so you start seeing these guys who are, you know, more into the different types of styles of wrestling, and you're like, wow, such and such is coming over here now. It's like that. Now I'm gonna go after that card. So I think it's really kind of causing a little bit more demand for that kind of stuff. So
when they announce somebody coming over from Japan, I'll get a couple DMs and be like, hey, do you have the rookie card? Do you have any autographs? It never fails. Like, you know, do you have any cards of him? Which ones do you have? I'll be like, oh, okay, you know, give me a day and I'll send you what I got. And
is your book going now? You said, is your book going to denote what's a rookie card then? Are you going to go down a slippery slope?
I don't want to, only because I can't 1000% verify that is the absolute first card, or the rookie card for them, without actually, you know, if I was, you know, able to dedicate another 5 years to it, I probably could. And I do have a pretty good understanding of, you know, when the cards are produced. I mean, there's a big gap where they didn't produce cards. So a lot of the stars that were stars in like the mid to late 80s, early 90s, they didn't have trading cards. So there's a big gap in there. I don't want to make that determination.
I know that feeling, man.
Yeah, it's eventually, you know, maybe, but I don't, not right now. I just want to get people the information and have it in a print form, and they can hold it in their hand and, you know, do as they do.
So we're gonna go, if available, you're gonna have, you know, how many packs in a box, how many cards per pack, release dates possibly.
If the information is available, yes.
Yeah. Any, and then it's like cool facts about a particular set, or I'm thinking from a WTC checklist standpoint.
Yeah, the only thing that maybe would be like a cool fact would be the cards that were released in magazines, where they're like promo cards, you know, and this was an issue 1144 of the BBM mag, you know, just something like that, where, you know, if somebody is looking for that magazine, maybe they could find, you know, the card's still intact in there.
Yeah, I'm a big believer, man. There's too much information is not enough information.
Exactly.
So whatever helps the collector, man. So when do you expect this book to be released?
I am aiming for the fall of this year. Yeah, hopefully somewhere between October and November. That's my goal. Like I said, the last research of the newest set will be what comes out this week, and then from there it'll be just tying up loose ends. I already know there's a few sets that will have a card or two missing in it, so it'll be blank, because looking for the last 9 months, I haven't found it, and I've gone out and purchased cards from the set hoping it'll be in this lot that I buy, and it's not there. So
yeah, it's always strange when that happens, because it's just it's like, why? Like then it adds more to the mystery to it. It's like, you know, yes, why is this card missing? It's like that. And you want to find someone who knows that information, you know.
And yeah, that's the worst part of, you know, with it being a late 99, early 2000 release, it wasn't available online. So, you know, other than finding the card, you're not finding the information.
Do you see this kind of going? This has been done before in our hobby. Paul Anand from the Wrestling Card Price Guide published a book in 2010 that was, you know, much needed for our hobby. It had its limitations. Obviously, he purposely decided not to do things like one-of-ones and things of that nature, like
Sure.
that, and then eventually he just put it online. Is that something that you're thinking of doing down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road?
I haven't thought that far yet. I think you could do a pretty good job with your website, so I'm
Because
sure
I'd be
all
here
the
to help you if you need that.
I'm sure all the information that I have is probably going to go to you, so it'll be available online. Um, but yeah, I'm still wrestling with that. Um, my brother actually suggested, he's like, well, why don't you do a encrypted PDF to include with your book? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's a route I could go. I mean,
Sure,
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, people do want to search, online, highlight, click, and search from,
It's a heck of a lot easier to just use your phone and go look for something than it is to actually carry a book around.
Sure, and
Yeah.
I get that, yeah.
But the book is a cool collectible. Like I haven't even, other than going through the Beckett Wrestling Almanacs,
Yeah.
I haven't really gone through them after I first opened them. But it's just a cool collectible for me to have, to know that they're there. So the book
Yeah.
itself becomes a collectible.
Yeah.
And then when you get guys like me who want to meet you and go, hey, I got my book here. Can you sign it for me?
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot going in my head outside of just the book of like, what do I do to entice it to make people drawn to it? And the first thing I thought of was the cover, and that was the first thing that came to mind was to get the Japanese flag symbol as like a primary, but as a background.
Absolutely. Is there any, do you have any sponsors for it like that? Anybody helping you? Like with Paul's books like that, I helped him get the TriStar advertisement for the back page. And so I didn't know if you were working on something like that.
I have not even gotten to that point yet. Who knows? Yeah, everything's up in the air right now. I'm open for anything. So if anybody wants to contact me, have at it.
Should I'm always thinking of different crazy ideas. Include like some sort of unique, just for Mr. RV himself, trading card that be included with every purchase.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, man. I think it's so cool that you're putting passion into this book. You're taking your passion, putting it into a book to benefit the hobby, so other collectors know. And as you know, I think you're coming at the right time too, because that section of our hobby. I mean, we already are a niche of just wrestling cards. Then you take the sub niche of that of Japanese cards, which is no pun intended, so foreign to so many people.
Well, exactly, yes.
And now we're getting a reference guide that's going to help a lot of collectors kind of fill in holes or understand this very cool and very unique side of our hobby that I think is just starting to really blow up more and more.
It definitely is starting. You see more and more people, more and more auctions are out there on eBay. You see cards pop up more and more where it's like, all right, it's cool. I'm not the only person buying these cards. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're starting a trend here with other people. I mean, there's collectors out there, especially the people who are die-hard wrestling card collectors, are always looking for something cool and unique to go and chase after, and that the Japanese wrestling cards just fit the bill.
And modern times right now, it's pretty affordable compared to some of these other cards. Still,
sure, absolutely, and we live in a smaller world. The internet has made this planet very small compared to the 80s and even early 90s.
Sure.
Everything's at our fingertips. I don't have to even go physically be in Tokyo to actually take a tour of Tokyo these days. I can just do it all through a webcam of some kind and pay for a server like that. So I've always said that the internet's made the world smaller. So people are kind of gravitating towards new cool things, and this is awesome. I think this is so cool, and can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah. Can't wait to be finished with it.
Well, I'll definitely be buying a book, and I'm hoping one day to actually meet you in person, and I want a signed copy.
Definitely.
So cool, man. Where can people find your process? All right, I mean, find more information about what you're doing, or follow you at least to see what's coming up.
My Twitter is @rvelligan. My Instagram is Japanese wrestling cards. I'll be posting once this is released. I'll be posting the information on there. If anybody wants to get on the wait list and start signing people up for a book, and we'll go from there.
What are you looking at for price?
Right now, the first little quote that I got, it's probably going to be in the $24.99 to $29.99 range, US. Okay. US. Sorry, okay. Canada. Sorry, anybody in Canada. Sorry. That's the range I'm guessing. I'm hoping to have between 12 to 24 pages of color, and I want to have a scan of many of the cards, at least a sample for every card, so somebody knows what they're looking for.
Sure.
Just as a reference guide, obviously. I mean, a lot of these cards are going to be the first introduction to somebody seeing these for the first time. So I figured it'd probably be a good idea to get them to, see the knowledge of, oh, okay, this guy here's a card from 1997. This is what they look like.
Yep. So you're going to have samples from every set, but you're going to have every card image?
I'm going to try to have a sample for a majority of them. Gotcha. There are some that I don't have, especially the stardom ones. Yeah, that was a pain in my existence for so long. It's the main sets. I think it'll start off being that way.
Great.
Because there are some pretty big key cards in there each year. The 1990, is it 97 or 98? They have the Canadian Rockers, which is Edge and Christian.
Yep.
So that's an image probably people would gravitate and see it and be like, oh, that's fantastic. I can't believe they have that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just little ones here and there to show off basically to people what's going on.
Great. Going to be available. I'm sure it's going to have an ISBN number on it, like that, so it can go on like Amazon and places like that.
That's
the goal. Direct from you. And buy direct from you, I'm assuming it's going to be also.
That's the goal. Start small and see how big it grows. I mean, I have a figure in mind of how many I think should be printed, and we'll, judging on the amount of feedback I get from it, it'll either increase or decrease. Just
sure.
Play it by ear.
Well, they got one buyer right here. That's for sure. Just to add to my collection. So cool, man. Well, I can't wait for it to come out. Collectors out there, I hope that you guys will pick up this book. It's something that's needed within the hobby. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Yep, there it is, man. Japanese Pro Wrestling Trading Card Almanac coming out in fall of this year. That's the target.
22. Yes.
Yep. So that's cool, man. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I say with that, man, we are just about done, I guess.
All righty.
We're out.